Hello there, people. This is Ryan here.
And this is other Ryan here.
And today, we have another interesting theory for you all. Now, in this one, we're hopping back to the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 teaser trailer, which was released just a week ago. And in particular, we're going to be looking at the sequence where we see Salvage being possessed next to a wall. Now, in this sequence of events, we're more interested in what is behind Salvage. We've actually seen this pattern before, and what we're going to be discussing is if this sequence is taking place in Five Nights at Freddy's 1.
Yes, so like you just said there, it's a very similar pattern, just behind Salvage in the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 teaser trailer at the end where we see him being possessed. We can see a black and white checkered pattern with a red trim. Now if we look at a Five Nights at Freddy's 1, any image from the pizzeria, we will see the same pattern all around.
Yeah, and what makes this a bit more striking is looking at the height of the trim, for example, down West and East Hall. You can see it's about the height of possibly what would be a human's waist, and if we know this animatronic to be quite tall, him in the slouch position, with the head height, it actually looks like it would match almost perfectly.
Yeah, I agree, but what we need to focus on is where is this possession actually taking place? If we are to both agree that it's taking place in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, we need to kind of scope out whereabouts it will be taking place.
Yeah, we could definitely say it is in the West Hall because it looks to be a very obvious place. But there exists an area in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 we've actually not seen visually.
And that would be the kitchen.
Yeah, so in the kitchen, if you guys have looked at the camera, I presume most of you have, what you'll actually be welcome to is you can't actually hear anything, see anything rather, and there's been a lot of theories spanning off of this.
Yeah, the first ever theory was because of the whole Golden Freddy. No one was expecting to see Golden Freddy in the first game, so that's loads of people said to themselves maybe it's, Golden Freddy is in the kitchen, and that was the first original theory of what's in the kitchen.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of scoped out, as you said before. We now know this other animatronic, this presumably new animatronic. Well, I can't say new to us all, but we can presume that it's existed throughout the entirety of all the pizzerias. I mean, constantly, as I've said in many other videos, he hints that he's always been here and still is here. And this animatronic, we know, he looks very withered, and to be in that condition, you've got to existed for just a little while, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But what we need to ask ourselves is, why is the camera disabled? If the audio is working, that means the camera is working, but obviously the management don't want you to see something inside there. And as you notice on Five Nights at Freddy's 1, the phone guy doesn't mention anything about the kitchen.
Yeah,
I don't think he does anyway.
No, I don't think he does actually, and we can hear frequent sounds of definitely movement, which leads on almost to the next point, which is, why do the animatronics enter the kitchen area? When they enter the kitchen area through only the audio, it is made very apparent that they are definitely interacting with something in there. Now, what are they interacting with? So, sometimes when we actually look at the camera in the kitchen, we can see that the animatronic known as Chica does actually make routine visits into there. And it's only when Chica seems to go in there that we'll hear the very apparent sound of pots and pans crashing. Now, this could be many things. I think a lot of people have speculated why this is actually occurring. But could it be that the animatronic is, for example, having this possession occur to it, and Chica might be trying to resist it, and that's when we hear the crashing of the other animatronics?
Quite possibly, which then leads on to why Freddy then goes into the kitchen. Going off one of your old theories, you suggest that Freddy goes into the kitchen to play the music box, which we know from Five Nights at Freddy's 2 calms the marionette down.
With note to this, we've also speculated that the twitchiness of the animatronic, it doesn't seem to really match up entirely. I mean, if we think back to, for example, the end of the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 teaser, when he jump scares you, he seems quite content and he's very aware of his actions, so why he'd be twitching uncontrollably during this sequence, however, suggests there might be a some kind of manifestation taking place.
Definitely. One of the major theories is obviously that the marionette in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is just a normal puppet, but in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, we know that the marionette is there. We know of its existence due to the posters in the East Hall on the wall. So we know that the marionette is there, and also in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 cutscenes, we can see the marionette is also in the first pizzeria. Well, second pizzeria it would be in the timeline.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if we also think back to the trailer again, I mean the initial pan down that corridor, it shows a lot of drawings on the wall. Now, the walls in that pizzeria, they look very similar to the ones in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, and one striking image on there is the picture of Marionette. So, if that, for example, is some kind of pan down the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 hall, where this animatronic also seems to receive some kind of possession, then that could also link in that the Marionette does definitely exist in Five Nights at Freddy's 1.
Yeah, and this also goes back to what we were just discussing about with the Marionette possessing this salvage. Would that mean that Freddy comes in to play the music box to soothe the Marionette, maybe to, you know, so it doesn't possess any other animatronic, maybe?
Yeah.
And we could say that, yeah, it could fail on night 4 because, as you said, we see the distinct white pupils that the Marionette has inside Freddy in the East Hall camera, so maybe they didn't actually succeed in soothing the Marionette.
Quite possibly, which ultimately caused this possession, and for all we know, this could actually be taking place on night 4, couldn't it?
Yeah, actually, very true, yeah.
Also, we have to also consider what happens to the purple guy during his death sequence. We definitely hear the Freddy thing, the Freddy music box. So, I mean, could it even be this animatronic, and maybe Freddy chased after him, played the music box to try and prevent it, but unfortunately the inevitable happened and he was too late.
Quite possibly. I mean,
Yeah.
most people said that it could be Golden Freddy as you hear Golden Freddy's scream, but what if maybe this was actually Salvage's scream without maybe the voice box or whatever makes it scream kind of worn out as time went on?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a point to consider also, yeah. So there you have it then, guys. This is, once again, just another theory on how the salvage could be intertwined with Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2. Be sure to comment your thoughts in the comment section below. We'd love to have a read and see how possibly maybe you other theorists agree with us, or also some points which clash, because, you know, there's always other ways to look at things, and perhaps we've looked at it the right or wrong way. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Want to see even more content from us?
Consider liking and subscribing to ensure you'll see all content in the foreseeable future.
And hey, why not check out our past 2 videos? What's going on, guys, and welcome to our newest video. This is Ryan here.
And this is other Ryan here.
And today we bring you guys once again another fan theory, and this one is brought to us all by Daniel Medina. So thank you very much for your submission. I'm going to give you guys a brief over what Daniel proposed as an idea. Alright, so basically he said, what about if Bonnie was in fact behind the bite of 87? And when he says that, he refers to Withered Bonnie. He goes on to say it's never really been the very prominent statement of Bonnie seems to be the only animatronic with the removed face, and I mean all the other guys have their faces, so could his face have been removed because of the bite of 87? And also, did we not know about this actual animatronic having his face removed for the reasons stated before, because they didn't want to scare the night guard off? I mean, he's a new night guard, and of course they probably wouldn't want to start him off of a shift. He's not even completed yet.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, if someone told me that there's an animatronic that is worthy of biting your face off, I think I wouldn't really take up the job, if I'm honest. But as you said before, yeah, it doesn't really make sense that Bonnie's, you know, the only one without a face. I mean, Freddy and Chica we can see. I mean, Chica's missing her arms, fair enough, but other than that, Freddy and Chica both still have their faces intact. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks kind of almost like Withered Bonnie's face has been pulled out. I mean, you can see all the loose wirings. It's almost like it's not been finished being dismantled or something, isn't it?
Yeah, almost. I mean, we can still see, like in the trailer, the red kind of glow, if you know what I mean, behind the. So there's still some kind of electrical functions like being used, but yeah, it looks like it's been forcefully removed by somebody.
Alright then, so moving away from Bonnie now, we're going to start looking at salvage, and we're going to